Marry me, everyone. Aren't these cute? My jack-o'-lantern stress ball and exercise ball. Isn't that cool? Okay, so I have a bit of a rant, little pet peeve rant thing that I'm wanting to get off my chest, and I'm just gonna put it into this video. This is not Samhain. I keep getting the song in my head. It's not an actual song, but there's a rhythm from The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is Halloween. This is Halloween, right? I keep getting this is not Samhain. This is not Samhain in my head because of the vibrations of people around me. As I make this video, it's August 7th. We just got done having Lammas, and there's another Sabbat before Samhain as well, Naboon, which is a ways away, welcoming in autumn. Samhain is well into autumn, and okay, Samhain is a big Sabbat, and I do like to think about it and prepare for it early, and sometimes even before Naboon, some stuff. However, it's getting on my nerves a little bit this year. It's August 7th, and it's still summer. We just hit the halfway point of summer, so we still have half of summer left, technically, and hopefully it'll feel like it. And not only that, I feel like Naboon has been wiped off the map socially more than any other original spoke in the wheel. Because with the Christian invasions, they stopped celebrating, they stopped the Sabbats from being the cultural norm, and they replaced them with their holidays. But a lot of those holidays have their roots in pagan Sabbats, and you can see it pretty clearly. Yule being the pagan Sabbat that Christmas came from. There's a lot of similarities there. It's very different. There's a lot of similarities there, and you can see that. So the flavor of it, when you go into stores and you're looking at the decorations and stuff, you can find winter solstice decorations amongst that. And the same thing with the Star and Easter. A lot of similarities. When you get into Beltane, it's around the time of Mother's Day, and I feel like Beltane is very much about celebrating the feminine as well as the masculine, but it's a light, springy, playful energy. And yes, there's like the maypole tradition, and there's traditions that have been wiped out with Beltane that you don't see in mainstream, but you can still glimpse an essence of it when you're shopping. There's spring decorations and things, and little baskets, May Day baskets, and and then Father's Day, and Litha, Litha being oftentimes thought of as the peak of male energy, of outgoing energy, as well as the sun. And Lammas, if you think about it, with the whole back to school thing with children, that overlaps Lammas a little bit as well, because Lammas, the god Lu, if you follow that tradition anyway, or incorporate any of it into your Lammas Sabbat, he's about skills. He's about knowledge and your skills and cultivating your skills. So that's ideally what people are doing in school, is learning about themselves and about skills and developing different skills, what their interests are, and things of that nature. But I started thinking about Maboon, and Maboon is just wiped out. I mean, we have fall coming in, and you can find fall decorations, sure, but there's no holidays around this time. The last one is like the 4th of July in the United States, Independence Day, and Father's Day around Liza. And then that's it until Halloween, which is the same day as Samhain, one of the days of Samhain. And I started thinking about it, and I asked, why? To myself, to spirit, why is this? And when I was exploring feminine, masculine energies, talking about them in another video, talking about Maboon and how I feel about Maboon, it occurred to me that we're living in a herding culture and a patriarchal herding culture. The patriarchal herding culture is not about having the divine masculine on some pyramid, because the divine masculine would be at the top of the pyramid anyway. The divine masculine would be sharing the top of the pyramid with the divine feminine. But it's not. It's really very much about suppressing the feminine and accentuating the negative masculine energy, accentuating the negative aspects of male energy, how it can manifest in harmful ways. And feminine energies can do that as well. When people get too isolated and insecure and afraid and stuff like that, that's introverted energy. So I guess I see that as as feminine energy, but in its negative or its shadow side. So the culture is very much about promoting the shadow side of masculinity. War, violence, discrimination. Even though it doesn't seem like it is now, even though we've got racism is taboo now, you shouldn't be racist, that's culturally unacceptable, and it's not PC to have a problem with homosexual people and things like that. It still is very much about separating people, making what's different about you, and trying to one-up people, what's different about them, and how are they less worthy, deserving, good as me, climbing like that. So it's negative competition. It's not like healthy competition at all. It's like survival of the fittest. Go work your slave jobs to bring home money, and the person who has the most money wins, and sell your soul for money so that you can have status and respect and security. And it's very fear-driven. And the way that the society views women is very masculine-oriented. Be more masculine, oh, you're menstruating, put a tampon in instead of letting it flow out naturally, and go about and be as athletic and work as hard as any other time. Like, we don't acknowledge your cycle. You should still be in your job being somebody else's slave, because we have this hierarchy pyramid where might makes right and the strongest wins. And Maboon is the day where the masculine's already winning, but it's the day where the masculine recesses to the feminine, and the feminine starts growing. The feminine energies in the wheel, the waning half of the year, and the feminine energies, I don't want to use the word trump, but overtake masculine energies. The days are longer, and then the nights are longer than the days. And so I think this has intentionally been done, and they haven't replaced it with something like Easter, Roadstar, and so forth, because they want us to just forget about that completely and not have the divine feminine rise up, because the divine feminine is very helpful in healing for the divine masculine as well. They're counterparts. When you have divine masculine energy, it supports the divine feminine energy, and the help of the feminine energy being in its lighter aspect rather than its shadow. It supports it. It encourages it. It demonstrates its strength instead of fear, and makes the feminine energy feel more safe. It's safer to be receptive. It's safer to be intuitive. It's safer to nourish yourself. It's safer to nurture others, because the divine masculine is standing there as a protective, strong, supportive, encouraging energy for the divine feminine energy, for the feminine energy in general. And in doing so, it's keeping away the shadow aspects of things, especially the shadow aspects of the masculine energy. So, the aggression that would be attacking and making you feel like it's not safe to do these things. The greed, right? Take, and like the restriction on what you're giving. So anyway, that's my rant about that. I think it's a very important Sabbat. It's a very, not just Sabbat for like people who are pagan, but I think it's a very important time of the year, and a very important time to tune into the energies and not have it just be swiped from like history in your mind, because a lot of people are running around feeling like something's missing, and this is a part of what is missing. That being said, I'm I'm gonna do a tarot reading for Samhain for you all, because I just feel like it's been getting to me. I've been picking up energies around Samhain, and I thought, what the heck? I like doing tarot readings. I had an idea come to me a bit ago about how to do Samhain readings for you all this year, and I wanted to do it, so I'll just do it in advance. But I'm making you listen to my rant first. So I hope you enjoy your season, the rest of the summer and the autumn. Samhain is like midway into autumn. Alright, there's a lot going on before that. There's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot of energies to observe and be with, and acknowledge and tune into, and a lot of wonderful stuff and growth that can occur in the meantime. It's not just waiting around for a big masquerade ball. Okay, there's stuff to be doing now. These seasons have their own vibration, and this is not Samhain. It's tide Maboon season. It's late summer. It's a lot of things this year, actually. Venus retrograde and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, cute little pumpkins. I'm going to set them here in the corners, and I'm going to do an interactive reading with you. So I grabbed 2 decks, one that you have not seen before. This one you have. This is the Mystics, I always forget, it's the navigators of the Mystic, I don't know what the case is, Mystic Sea, okay, Mystic Sea I think it is, but I like these cards very much. I have a lot of water signs in my natal chart, and I really connect with them. And Samhain it occurs in the solar month of Scorpio, which is a water sign. And so I think this is a really good deck to use. It's also, it's a general tarot deck. It's not an oracle deck. And then for the second one, I have the Vampire Tarot. Vampire Tarot. So we can take a look at what's sucking the life out of you, maybe. Some issues. Wow, that's interesting. All right, we'll read that for everybody. All right, hopefully I can gracefully have this fit in there, because I just closed the whole video up all about these two cards that flew out in the beginning. Can't do that. So we have Two of Knives, which came reversed, and Six of Stakes. So I'm going to look at this because this is a general, this flew out right in the beginning, so I'm thinking this is applying to everyone. Two of Daggers, and we'll look into that first. Two of Knives. This card represents a debate between 2 points of view, one coming from the heart and feelings, and one coming from the head and thoughts. Okay, I want to read the other card with it being reversed, but I do think that maybe the message of this for somebody, okay, I'm going to read it this way, and I think this is the message for some of you. But for some of you, maybe most of you, I think the real message is this card represents a debate between two different points of view, one coming from the heart and feelings, and one coming from the head and thoughts. I feel like for some of you, that's going to probably be very much going on. You're going to feel that, okay? But I think the message for some people is going to be about letting loose and letting go, and coming from a place where they're so harmonized that it feels as one. It's just one energy. Your heart and mind are in sync, and you can let loose and have fun, healthy fun, and enjoy connections with others, people that you're meeting, or spiritual work that you're doing. This card represents someone who has elevated himself or herself to a place of respect and admiration. I think for a number of people, there's going to be some really powerful connections, like meeting new people going on during Samhain. What I'm getting with this is just trying to keep a bit of composure. Samhain can get pretty wild for some people, and Halloween for some people, you know, with partying and everything. Trying to respect yourself and others with what you're saying, and you know, sometimes people get too drunk and they say things that they don't mean, or way out there, and you know, you may be meeting some new people and not want to do that. It's not really saying like don't let loose, it's just I'm getting like try and make sure you're respecting yourself and respecting others, and because you're going to probably be around people who are worth it, who are worth your attention, and who are worth getting to know on, not just for the next 3 days, in a setting where it's very shallow and you're just kind of partying around and saying things drunk, and nobody's going to remember much in the morning. These are people that are very much worth getting to know on a deeper level, whether that's having, you know, a conversation at a party, whether that's, you know, making contacts and getting to know people over time, but just to being, you know, making sure to respect yourself and respect others when you're just during the Sabbat. And even if you're spending the Sabbat by yourself, I'm getting the same message of respect yourself in what you're doing. Wanting to go and respect yourself in what you're doing. And just some examples might be that you don't need to go and buy a ton of sugar and poison yourself with sugar. You don't need to go and buy a bunch of animal products and contaminate yourself with that. You don't need to go and get absolutely wasted by yourself. You don't need to spend the whole Sabbat working and ignoring your spiritual needs. Whether this is spirits coming through from the veil and communicating with you, people who have passed over, or spirit guides, any variety of this, intuitive stuff, if you're doing divination for yourself, or any of that, it's a good idea to have respect for yourself, allow space for these things, allow yourself to receive and have communication, whatever that means to you, whether it's communication because you're journaling, you're communicating with yourself, whether it's you're doing divination and you're communicating with spirit realms, whether it's you're communicating with nature, you're just tuned into nature, whether it's you're going to a party and you're communicating with other people, or just communicating with people throughout these 3 days, throughout your day-to-day tasks and what you need to do. Also, be respectful to the animals and to yourself during Halloween or Samhain, whatever you're partaking in. Very, very important. I'm getting that message very much, that it has to do with respecting spirit and source and respecting yourself. If you're not respecting the animals, if you're not respecting people's right to peace and quiet, it's just, there are certain boundaries. I'm not saying don't have music at your party or anything, but making sure that you're respectful to others that you may be at a party or something and thinking only of the people at the party. The cards are suggesting don't do that. If your neighbor complains, don't be like, turn the music up. Be respectful. There's a reason for what you're being asked to do, a greater reason. Of course, be respectful to the animals. They are part of this earth as well. And I get the message that if you're not respecting them, it's just like not respecting yourself. It's just like not respecting source. And humans are just another species of animals, so it goes along with that too. Respect for everyone, your younger brother, your younger sister, whomever. And respect for the earth. I know there's cabbage night still goes on in some places where people trash the earth on October 30th, the night of October 30th. If it is important to you to participate in cabbage night and do that sort of thing, do the least harm that you can do. Don't go using toxic things, spray painting trees and killing owls and with your toxic paint and just throwing a bunch of plastic confetti that's never going to be able to be completely cleaned up. It's going to have to sit in the ground. Or using eggs. Smash a pumpkin, smash a cabbage. It's biodegradable. If you have to do that. But make sure that you're checking in with Gaia and being respectful as well, because it's all connected. So, alright, please take that into advisement and combine it with the little mini reading here for whichever number you picked. And that is the tarot reading I have for you for Samhain. These cards are huge. Alright, so I'm going to do this as an interactive reading. I said this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have everyone pick a number between 1 and 3. And I'm going to do 3 little readings here. I'm going to pick a pile for 1 and 2 and 3. So pick whatever number comes to your mind first, 1, 2, or 3. I'm thinking the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to draw a card from each deck. And if I start feeling like that's not enough, I'll pull another one. Okay, you ready? You got your number? So this will be pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Pumpkin. Okay, ready? Here we go. Pile 1, Oppression, 10 of Wands. And Strength, Major Arcana card. Alright, so this deck, by the way, is by Robert M. Place. And the reading, if you don't do Samhain, you do Halloween instead. It's the same day. Samhain is actually, the way I view Samhain is it's a 3-day festival, being October 30th, October 31st, and November 1st. Some people include November 2nd as well. So just know that when I'm doing this reading, it may not just be for the day of the 31st, it may be for those 3 days. And if you are somebody who you're pagan or and you use November 2nd, then it may apply to you on this day as well. So we have Oppression and Strength. I don't use this deck very often, so I'm going to have to look in here. Eleven of Major Arcana. It says, this card suggests that the greatest power is the power of nature, and to realize our full power, we must ally ourselves with our inner nature. That's very cool. So this is a 10 of Wands, and 10 is the end of cycles, and not so much in the Major Arcana as with the suits, but also I do feel with the Major Arcana that it is kind of the completion of something and the beginning of another. So having a 10 card and an 11 card, I think is pretty profound. There might be some endings going on around Samhain, and with that, new beginnings, because there always is, even when it feels like a rest period and there's nothing going on, that is still the beginning of something. Okay, and this time might have something for you in relation to finding your inner strength and connecting it in with nature. Having the Oppression card, I'm thinking that some stuff might come up for you to allow you to realize the depth of how burdened you're feeling, or how your true nature is being oppressed and things are being suppressed within you. And you might come to a kind of a boiling point or a peak point. The whole saying of the piece of straw that broke the camel's back, that might be Samhain for you. So it might be that you're planning on going to some parties, you're going to go to some parties, and it's just going to stir the pot up and activate some change for you. This might be something that occurs for you on your own if you're spending Samhain as more of a inner a time to be by yourself and in solitude and go inward. So this could arise in a number of ways, but that's what I'm seeing with that. I'm going to open this book and just take a read and see if something else comes up. Okay, and it's called the Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. U.S. Game Systems, Inc. Interesting. Okay, we have 10 of Wands. Wands it has to do with the intuition. And so I really feel like this is apt to be, something that comes to you, from your intuitive side. You recognize some things, and a change occurs with this spoke on the wheel with Samhain. Okay, those are only court cards. 10. Okay. There's also a message here about money and finances, indicating that it's a good time to give a little bit. It says to charity, but that doesn't mean going and donating to a charity that you're unfamiliar with, so that you can feel better about yourself. The money may or may not go to a good cause. Okay, that's reality. I'm thinking this is more about, like, if you have a tendency to be extra cautious or really hold on to your money. If you're out with friends on Samhain, or somebody asks you they want some money for something, as long as you're in ethical agreement with it, it can feel good to give, and it can open up gates and circulate energies around, and it could be a good time to just brighten someone's day and go ahead and give them a little money to get their tarot read, or give them a little money to go watch a scary movie or whatever it is they're wanting to do. It also suggests that, it says accumulation of property and wealth. Prevent early dispersion by devoting part of your riches to charity. Remember that even with all the riches in the world, our lives are not complete unless we search for something more satisfying to lead us to our inner goals. So it's also about realizing that there's more to life than money and physical things that you can accumulate. There's more to life than property and having a nice house and things that you can buy. So I'm getting the sense that this, for a lot of you, most of you, is going to be about connecting with other people around this, that you're going to be mingling, or have the choice to mingle, and the cards are saying go for it. Mingle with people. There may be some people where you're having really soulful conversations with them, and it's all good. It's all for your highest growth. If there's any words of advice or caution with this, it would be to be cautious about remaining too closed-hearted, too afraid. That it's okay, and it's a benefit to open up a little bit, to share what you have. Okay. Number 2. Who have number 2? Interesting. Number 2, there's the contention card, which is 5 of Wands, another intuition card. And from the vampire deck, it's 2 of holy water. This card is about sharing. This card is about sharing at a very deep level. And whether, sometimes when we share at a very deep level, it is healthy, and sometimes when we do that, it is not healthy, depending on who we're sharing with and what we're sharing with. Right here is a blood transfusion that's going on. Okay, blood can be representative of life energy, and water, sacred water. I feel all the water on the planet is sacred, and all of the water in our bodies is sacred. So all water is sacred, but it's something that flows through us in abundance. It's what we're made of. And sharing what we're made of and sharing our essence with complete strangers can be a little bit risky. It can be a bad idea because some people are dealing with so much of their own low vibrational stuff and shadows that they'll do things that are unkind, that are like backstabbing and gossiping and nasty type things that are, you could perceive as attacks. And so it's not always a good time for us to just open up and share our essence. We need to evaluate the situation first, and you want to consider probably with this Sabbat, Samhain time, how well you know the person versus how well you think you know the person. Somebody you just met and you're feeling like you have this great connection with them. Just keep in mind that around Samhain, a lot of people like to try and pretend. They dress up in costumes, and sometimes it's not always about pretending either so much as accentuating a certain aspect of themselves. So, and this could be shadow or not shadow, and all in how you're looking at it. It could be something that's suppressed for them but that you find really appealing. But when they put that forward, just like wearing a costume and taking on the role of playing that character, if they're putting out a certain way of being, in the flavor of of just celebrating, or in the flavor of Samhain, and you're falling head over heels in trust or head over heels in love with them, there may be a lot hiding behind the curtain that you're unaware of. So I really sense this as a cautionary card for that aspect. I'm going to go and read into it a little bit more, into both of them. 2 of Major Arcana. No, not Major Arcana, Holy Water. Alright, here we are. 2 of Holy Water. In this scene, we see Van Helsing saving Lucy with a transfusion from her lover, Arthur Holmwood. If the sharing of blood is a sexual metaphor in Dracula, the transfusion can represent a sexual encounter, but it can also represent love, attraction, care, healing, and nurturing. This card can also symbolize a deep connection between 2 people. Let's see what the 5 of Wands wants to say from this deck. A battle lies ahead in which you will be pushed to the limit in defending your point of view, although you are shocked and saddened. Make sure you know who is really on your side. You can succeed despite all odds if you face facts and state your case courageously. So for some people, there may be like fights coming up between your partners that might need to be handled with honesty and integrity, and maybe some bravado, some bravery, to be able to stand in your truth and say, this needs to be said, like it or not, whether I like the way it feels or not. I mean, this is my truth, and I'm not going to put up for you being a vampire to me, to sucking my energy out and leaving me sickened in a weakened state vibrationally. For some people, this might be like meeting somebody that you over time can have a deep, meaningful relationship with, but there is the caution of like, take things slow. Understand that during Samhain, it's not like that the rest of the year. It's a different atmosphere, and you're just seeing a piece of something during this eve, during these 3 days. And yeah, so it could be a new relationship with a lot of passion in it, and a deep connection. that's the advice that comes along with it. Alright, so moving on to pile 3. People who had number 3. Oh, I love this card. Alright, and it came out reversed, which, that's interesting. I'm not sure how we're gonna, that's very interesting. Okay, we have Evolution, the Knight of Pentacles, and the 9 of Garlic Flowers. This is what it looks like. This is a beautiful card. It actually came reversed though, so I will take that into account when I'm reading them. Garlic flowers and other suits are the earth element. 9 is the second to last in the cycle with the suits, so it's leading up to a completion. 10 often represents like the completion, the peak, like the full moon, and then afterwards there's a new cycle. So 9 is right before that, right leading up to it. This is garlic. This card represents a natural prosperity that sustains health and well-being. This card represents a type of wealth that is in contrast to the wealth depicted on the 10 of Garlic Flowers. This is so interesting because the other card you got as well is as the Pentacles card, an Earth card, which often has to do with that part of life, the material realm, money, physical health, but also like accumulating things, financial and otherwise. Financial stuff and property and objects and things that you feel you own or don't own. Knight of Pentacles, where are you? Okay, here it is. The Knight is slow moving, yet a strong, practical, capable manager. He is conventional, steadfast, and a persevering worker. The card also indicates growth to a higher state from a lower, simpler, or worse situation by working things out on a pragmatic level. Okay, so I'm going to reread the garlic one more time here. Just to make sure I get the full message. Okay, so this is talking about good stuff when it comes to money. This is talking about, and not just money, but abundance. This is talking about you having a healthy relationship to money and a healthy relationship to abundance. Using money in ways that makes you, that nourishes your soul and your being, that nourishes you. You know, some people go to work and they work really hard, and then they come home and they spend their money, and they go to the store and they spend their money on things that are really abusive to them. You know, cigarettes, alcohol, candy, magazines, so they can look at them and think that they're not as attractive as people in the magazines. Things of this nature. And well, harmful food as well. And this is, because there's a lot of people in the world, this is going to affect, you know, this could potentially affect you in different ways. But what I'm seeing is these, you know, the Knight of Pentacles is very supportive of you having financial success and a success with abundance and making good decisions regarding money and how you spend it and how you use it. And this card as well. So the only little advice I really got was the pragmatic part. So maybe for some of you it's about just making sure that you're thinking through your choice and feeling through your choice when you're spending money and receiving money, but spending money especially, and making sure that it makes practical sense, not spending more than you have and not wasting it, not spending it on things that aren't nourishing for you, aren't going to support you. Don't spend it on people that you don't like, don't care about, don't, that if you hand the money to them, then you feel like you're being walked all over or taken advantage of. Spend it on others that you do, get something out of being around. If you, go to the movies with somebody who makes you feel great, it's nourishing you to be around them and watch this movie with them and to give them a gift. That kind of thing when it comes to spending money. And yeah, just for some of you it might be like not a thunderstorm, but like a tipping point where something happens over Samhain that makes you realize that you need to make some changes and change the way you're living and your relationship to money, how you're spending money, and what you're willing to do to receive money, and for the better, to have it supporting you and nurturing you, and develop a true sense of wealth, and leave the other stuff behind, and have greater success financially, and with a feeling of abundance and true wealth. Because abundance and true wealth is not limited to money at all. I mean, money can be a part of it, sure, but it's much deeper than that. And this card is supportive of that. So it's saying true abundance. For some of you, maybe it's going to be like some money fell through, or you're not having as much money as you wanted to. Maybe you're wanting to throw a nice Samhain party or something and the money doesn't show up. This is about like true wealth. Maybe that happens so that you don't go out and buy a bunch of cheap decorations, that you get to go out in nature and find really cool stuff. Or it's about quality, things that feel abundant. And when you get to that level, sometimes that stuff is free. Sometimes the stuff that makes us feel wealthy and rich and special and like life is abundant is free. Like watching a sunset or a sunrise, you feel the abundance of beauty in nature, and that doesn't cost you anything. So, all right, I guess that's everything for these readings. Please leave any comments below and let me know what you thought of it. I hope everyone has a wonderful Samhain when Samhain comes. I know, I understand. I like to prep a little bit as well, but let's not forget that we're not there yet. Let's not project way into the future and ignore the wonderfulness of the present moment. Alright, again, thanks. I hope you enjoyed the reading. All of your likes and comments, your nice comments in the past have been appreciated. Please keep them coming, and feel free to share the video as you see fit. Alright, merry part and merry meet again. Bye.